Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Never let the Ash'ari fool you or deceive you by saying the narration of the concubine, as we call it in Arabic, Hadith al-Jariyah, which is in Sahih Muslim, narrated by Muatta ibn al-Hakam al-Sulami, that he had a concubine who was taking care of the sheep, but one day she came back, one of them was lost. So he counted the sheep and asked her, "Where's the missing one? There's one missing." She said it had been eaten by the wolf or something. So he slapped her. Then he regretted. Then he brought her to the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet asked her, "Where is Allah?" This is a very bad question. According to the Platonic Aristotelian ideology, philosophic ideology, we should not be asking where is Allah, because there is nowhere for Allah. He's nowhere. He's neither inside the world, okay, but nor outside the world. He's neither nor. So he's nothing. This is the doctrine of nothingness. I don't think that the Asharis are communists, but their words are sounding like the communists who say that there's no God anywhere. So don't you believe that they're getting closer to their statement, saying he's neither inside the world nor outside the world, so he's nothing. So the Prophet asked the concubine, "Where is Allah?" She said, "He is in as-sama," in the height. As-sama, it doesn't mean necessarily sky. So some people may translate as-sama as sky. No, everything high is called as-sama. Every height. So the Prophet asked the concubine, "Where is Allah?" She said, "He is in as-sama." He said to her, Who am I?" She said, "You are the messenger of Allah." Then the Prophet said to her owner, "Free her, for she is a believer." Free her for what he did, because he slapped her. And the Prophet said, whoever slaps his servant should free him. So that's the hadith. They'll say to you, the hadith is weak. Muttarib has some criticisms, some problems. So what are the problems? They'll say to you, this hadith is narrated differently in Muatta Malik. Narrated that an Arabian Bedouin one who had to free a slave. So he came and brought his servant with him and made the Prophet and wanted to make him to have his approval. So he said, "O Prophet, there is a slave that I need to free. And this is my concubine. Shall I free her?" Then the Prophet asked her, "Do you testify that there is no God but Allah?" She said, "Yes." Then the Prophet said to her owner, "Free her." Scholars said, such as Al-Hafidh ibn Abdul in his book Al-Isti'ab, he said those are different narrations for different incidents narrated by two different persons. That's another story. But wait for the shock. The same hadith of the concubine, which is in Muslim, it's also in Muatta Malik. Shame on the Asharis, who do not tell you this. They only go to that hadith of the Arabian one, not Muawiyah ibn al-Hakam al-Sulami, an Arabian one. And he said to the Prophet, "There is a slave that I need to free." You know, sometimes if a person, for example, intercourse with his wife deliberately, so that's a different story totally. But shame on you, Asharis. Why don't you tell people the fact that the same hadith in Sahih Muslim, it's in Muatta Malik? Why do you go to the other hadith, tricking people, hiding the fact that the same hadith in Muslim is in Muatta Malik as you see it on the screen? I repeat, shame on you, Asharis, for deceiving people and fooling them. You won't be able to know this fact in English. I'm not saying I'm the only person, but it's rarely can be explained this way. Now, let's say that the hadith is weak in Sahih Muslim, okay? Cannot this weakness be supported and elevate the hadith to become authentic by being supported by an ayah of the Quran in Surah Al-Mulk, where Allah the Almighty says, أَأَمِنْتُم مَّن فِي السَّمَاءِ أَن يَخْسِفَ بِكُمُ الْأَرْضِ فَإِذَا هِيَ تَمُورُ? Are you secure of the one in as-sama, in the height, that he caused the earth to swallow you or to quake beneath you? That's in Surah Al-Mulk. They may say to you, the one who is in the height in the Quran, it doesn't mean Allah, it means the angels. Oh, really? But there's another ayah, very similar to it, in Surah Al-Isra. I think it's number 18 or 17. Surah number 17, which is before Surah Al-Kahf. Surah Al-Isra, ayah number 68, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, similarly, exactly, with slight change, أَفَأَمِنْتُمْ أَنْ يَخْسِفَ بِكُمْ جَانِبَ الْبَرِّ أَوْ يُرْسِلَ عَلَيْكُمْ حَاصِبًا. Very similar to the ayah in Surah Al-Mulk. And this ayah in Surah Al-Isra is talking about Allah. وَإِذَا مَسَّكُمُ الضُّرُّ فِي الْبَحْرِ, when the harm touches you in the sea, ضَلَّ مَنْ تَدْعُونَ إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ, you will be having no one ever to supplicate except Allah when you are in trouble. فَلَمَّا نَجَّاكُمْ إِلَى الْبَرِّ, but when He saved you to the land, behold, you return to your ignoring and your turning away. That means setting up partners with Allah after they were sincere when they saw the trouble in supplicating Him alone. But when He saved them, they returned to the partnership with Allah, taking partners with Allah. أَفَأَمِنْتُمْ أَن يَخْسِفَ بِكُمْ جَانِبَ الْبَرِّ, are you secure that He may be causing the earth to quake beneath you? أَوْ يُرْسِلَ عَلَيْكُمْ حَاصِبًا, or He sends a wind against you. Those two ayat are very identical, very clear. So the verse in Surah Al-Mulk can be backed up with this ayah in Surah Al-Isra. So the pronoun renders to Allah, not to the angels. So the two verses, they look alike. So don't play these games and say, Amintum ma fis sama, that means Jibreel or the angels. Because Allah is saying, Amintum an yakhsifa aw yursila, to cause the earth to swallow beneath you, or to send wind. Who's sending the wind? Jibreel? The angels? The angels are mursal, they are sent. They do not send. The sender is Allah. So don't manipulate the ayat of Allah for the favor of who? Aristotle and the philosophic ideology that have been inherited after being translated in Arabic. It has been taken by the Jahmiyyah, Mu'tazila, and then to the Asha-erah. Yet they claim to you, we are Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Don't be like the Jews who Allah described them that they hear and disobey. You should hear and obey. I swear by Allah, I had a debate with a Habashi guy. And I was reading this ayah to him from Surah Al-Mulk, أَأَمِنْتُم مَّن فِي السَّمَاءِ. And he suddenly shouted at me and said, don't teach me kufr, blasphemy. I said, أعوذ billah, I'm just reading an ayah. So I said to him, he said to me finally, when he could not run away, he said, you are illustrating the ayah by your desire. I said, no. I'm not dictating you to accept my understanding of the ayah. The Quran itself is ordering you to accept the ayah. Just say for one time that I believe that Allah is in as-sama, as He said about Himself. And He kept saying to me, don't teach me blasphemy, don't teach me kufr. Now, so he says that the narration in Sahih Muslim is weak. The only reason he has to say that, because there's another narration in Muatta Malik which talks about another incident, that Arabian guy, brother, Sahabi, astaghfirullah. I don't like to say guy. But they hide the fact that there's another narration in Muatta Malik by the same narrator in Sahih Muslim, Muawiyah ibn al-Hakam al-Salami, with a slight mistake that Malik in his book made. Instead of calling that companion Muawiyah, he called him Umar ibn al-Hakam al-Salami. Ibn Hajar, al-Shafi'i, al-Bayhaqi, al-Nasa'i, all of those Imams of Hadith, they declared that this was a mistake of naming the companion, a mistake done by Imam Malik. So the Hadith is not weak. Another shock. Prepare for the shock. Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar, the commentator of Sahih Bukhari, he mentioned this Hadith of Jariyah, and he said, I think he was quoting someone saying that this hadith is authentic and it had been narrated by Sahih Muslim. Now, as Ibn Hajar quoted this from another scholar, he did not make any objection or a comment that no, this hadith has a problem. No one said that this hadith has weakness. Not even Nawawi, who is the explainer of Sahih Muslim. He passed by this hadith. He did not say, by the way, this hadith has problem. Never. Except recently, those people, recent Asharis, recently, started by Kawthari. He was the Mufti of Turkey 100 years ago. This is the first one who made that claim. We leave him to Allah. Whether he knew that there's another narration in Muatta Malik or he did not know, we leave his case to Allah the Almighty. But the hadith is there, and now you can see it. So what the Asharis after this, after I show them this, they wish that the earth will be split apart and it will be swallowing them. There's no way for them to deny. Why they do that? It's very shameful. This is not scientific trustworthiness. It ousts those people from any kind of credibility and trustworthiness. Now, is Bukhari among Ahl Sunnah or not? No one can argue against it. Yes. Well, let's have a look at the book of Bukhari. But this time, I'm not talking about Sahih Bukhari. I'm talking about a book titled as Khalq Af'al al-Ibad, the creation of the deeds of the servants. That's literal translation. In this book, he showed many narrations by At-Tabi'een. At-Tabi'een are generation that saw the companions and they took the knowledge from them, but they did not have the chance to see the Prophet ﷺ. We call them Tabi'een. That means the followers of the companions. Those people, they were fighting with the Jahmi people. The Jahmis, they manipulate the ayah, Amintum man fis sama. They say as-sama here means the highness rank of Allah. The highness rank of Allah. It's not the highness of Allah Himself over His throne. But wait a minute. why the Salaf, the Tabi'een, had problem with them and they were debating with them. Didn't the Salaf believe that Allah's highness is up as well? Allah's honor is high anyway? Didn't they believe that? Sure. So they agreed with the Jahmis about the highness of Allah's rank and honor. But the disagreement was precisely, exclusively, was about, is Allah over his throne or not? The Asharis says Allah was while there was no place, and he remained as he was. Where did he get that? They say to you, this is the term of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. That's a lie. It's a Shiite term. It's in the book of Kafi. It's not in any book of Hadith. Not me. It's not me who said it. It's Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani in his book Fath al-Bari, 6th volume. He said, notice this second part of the narration, and he was and he is now as he used to be before. It has no place in the books of Hadith. I did not finish quoting him. Quote, Ibn Taymiyyah, the scholar Ibn Taymiyyah, Al-Allama Ibn Taymiyyah, that's Ibn Hajar saying, the scholar Al-Allama Ibn Taymiyyah had given that notice. So Ibn Taymiyyah is a scholar. To Ibn Hajar, he is a scholar, but to you he's not. Anyway, you are opposing the Quran. Allah said he created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and then after that, then he went up over his throne. He did not say, and he remained after creating the heavens and the earth as he used to be before. He didn't say, and he remained as he used to be. No. He said, and he went. That means he made a deed. He made an action. He went over his throne. They say it means that Allah is dominant. Well, he was dominant over the whole world even before creating the heavens and the earth. So are you telling me that he became dominant after he created the heavens and the earth while he was not dominant before? And shamefully they say to you also that istawa, he went up over his throne. They say istawa here means he prevailed, istawla, occupied, reoccupied the throne. Oh, wait a minute. So the throne was under control of who before Allah recontrolled it? See? They try to, they think that they're fixing, but in a matter of fact, they're corrupting. They're destroying. They're devastating. That's the Asha-erah. So let's get back to Bukhari. What did Bukhari believe? Was Bukhari Wahhabi? No. They call us Wahhabi. While they're mocking the Wahhab, because they're using the word Wahhabi to put us down. So it's a word of mockery. But if you want to mock me, please don't use one of the names of Allah. Please try to find something else. But don't mock me and sadden me by using one of the names of Allah, Al-Wahhab. Let's get back to Bukhari. And then we'll get back to the leader of the Asharis to see what did he say. Let's get now to Bukhari. In his book, Khalq Af'al al-Ibad, to see what did he say, what did he narrate from the generation of At-Tabi'in. Oh, wait a minute. Now we have surprised for you from the book of Bukhari, one of the books of Bukhari. It's called Khalq Af'al al-Ibad. This book proves that Bukhari was Salafi and he was against those Asharis. He used to believe what the Tabi'een believed, the second generation after the companions, that Allah is over His skies, He is in the height, over His throne, over His skies. Are you ready? Let's explore that great book. So this is the book خلق أفعال العباد والرد على الجهمية وأصحاب التعطيل. The creation of the people's deeds and the refutation of Jahmiyyah, the people of Ta'til. Ta'til means to deny the attributes of Allah. Let's see here in page number 8. He says, narrated by Wahb ibn Jarir, he is Tabi'i, that he said, the Jahmi people are heretic, Zanadiqa. They intend to tell us eventually that over the throne there is nothing, and Allah did not go over His throne. So Bukhari is narrating to us what is the belief of Salaf, of Tabi'een. Also he narrated by Hamad ibn Zayd authentically that those Jahmis, they argue for no purpose except to the purpose of telling us that there is no God over the height, over the heaven. Look, they say to you, Allah is existed without place. Now the throne is place, and Allah is over that place. We're not against the Quran. You are going against the Quran, not us, any matter of fact. Also narrated by Ibn Mubarak, Abdullah ibn Mubarak, and we know who is Abdullah ibn Mubarak, a great Tabi'i. He said, we do not say, just like what the Jahmis said, that Allah is on the earth only, but He is over His throne. And also he was asked, how do we know our Lord? He said, we know Him that He is over His heavens, over His throne. Sa'id ibn Amir said, the Jahmis statements are worse than the Christians and the Jews. The Jews and the Christians had agreed, and all peoples of other religions, they all agreed that Allah, the Almighty, is on His throne. And those people, that means the Jahmis, they say there is nothing over the throne. So that's the belief of Bukhari. And Bukhari was not Wahhabi. What are you going to say about? Are you going to say that Bukhari is deviant, misguided, misleader? Okay. Also narrated by Ali, that those who say that Allah has a son are greater in blasphemy than those who said that Allah does not speak. Also, he said, I warn people from this man Mirisi and his companions, because I have spoken to them, and he could not prove to me that there is God in the heaven and the height. Also, he narrated by Al-Fudayl ibn Abbas. Also, he narrated by Al-Fadl ibn Iyad that he said, if the Jahmi said to you, I disbelieve in a God that moves from His place, so tell him, I believe in a Lord that does what He will. MashaAllah, very beautiful. And also Bukhari narrated by Harun about the Jahmis. He said about them, whoever claimed that Rahman ala al-arsh istawa, He went over His throne, in a different understanding than the layman people, he is Jahmi. And also narrated by Sulaiman al-Tamimi that he said, if I were to be asked, where is Allah? I would be saying in as-sama. But if you said, where was Allah before creating His throne? I'll be saying he was on the water. But if you were asked, so where was he before creating his throne? I'll be saying, Abu Abdullah, that means Imam Ahmad, had said. Also, Bukhari narrated by Muhammad ibn Yusuf saying, whoever said that Allah is not on his throne, he is kafir. And whoever believed that Musa did not speak to his Lord, he is kafir. Then Bukhari carried on by narrating some narrations from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, a great companion of the Prophet. He said, Istawa ala al-arsh. Istawa ala al-arsh, that means he went up over his throne. He said, the throne is on the water, and Allah is over the throne, and He knows what you are and what you're intending to do. But regarding another ayah, وَهُوَ الَّذِي فِي السَّمَاءِ إِلَهٌ وَفِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَهٌ, and it is He who is God in the heaven, God on the earth. He said the meaning of that, since the word God means the worshipped one, the one that is worshipped, then he said that means, this ayah means that He is worshipped by the people of heaven, and as well as being worshipped by the people on earth. There are a lot of narrations narrated by Imam Bukhari to prove to you the doctrine of the Salaf. And those people are opposing them, opposing the Quran, just for the favor of what? For the favor of reconciling between the Islamic law and the philosophic law, as they call it, metaphysics. They may also say to you, this is a young girl, a concubine. How can we take our doctrine from a young girl, a concubine? The answer is, the concubine is not the problem. Your problem is with the approval of the Prophet, who endorsed what she said, and he proved that she is a believer after saying that Allah is in the height. Another doubt. They say to you, the Prophet usually tests people by the testimony of Tawheed, La ilaha illallah. But this hadith is making another test. Do we say to the people usually, do you believe that Allah is in the heaven? Now the Prophet tests by what Allah reveals to him. It is not your task to limit the Prophet as to what test he should be giving. It's not your business. The Prophet sometimes uses this as a test, where is Allah, and he uses other tests. Do you believe that there is no God but Allah? So we can use this test, where is Allah, to people like you who deny what the Prophet proved, that Allah is in the height. And by Allah, this concubine succeeded, but the Asharis failed in answering the question. So since the two hadith are authentic, and there is no contradiction between them, because they are not the same hadith, okay, two different incidents, so it is better for you to be polite and shut your mouth and not to limit the Prophet as he be testing people by. This is impudence and lack of manners. Those people say to you, where was God before creating his throne? Just give me an answer. So we say to them, wait a minute. We are telling you about what Allah detailed to you. And you ask me, where was he before? Wait a minute. Allah detailed to you that he is over the height in as-sama. Just accept this, and then we will talk about what Allah did not tell us. If you ask me, where was he before creating the throne, I'll be saying, I don't know. And that's what scholars say. Okay, look. He said, Sulaiman al-Tamimi, if I were asked, where's Allah? I'd be saying he is in as-sama, he is over his throne. on the height. But if he asks you, where was his throne before as-sama, then you'll be saying, on the water. But if he asks you, where was his throne before the water, then I'll be saying, I don't know. Well, how beautiful is this? You know, if you say to those Asharis, I don't know, he will say to you, stop. Finish. I have finished you. You can't give an answer. Wait a minute. My methodology forces me to take this status and action or attitude. I detail what Allah detailed to me. If Allah did not detail anything, specific thing, then how can I give details about it? I can't. So as Allah detailed Himself to me, I'll be describing Himself by what He described Himself. According to the ayah that you see on the screen, it makes it clear that it's forbidden that I speak about Allah what I do not know. So don't say, oh, you could not give an answer. Sure, I do not give an answer about Allah given to me by Him, because my answer should be with knowledge. And since Allah did not give me knowledge about where He was before, so I cannot speak. This is my way. The ayah here is very clear. Say, my Lord has prohibited. He mentioned many things, and the last one is, and that you say about Allah what you know not. That's our way. But as for you, Allah has given you knowledge about things and you are denying them. Why do you ask about what Allah did not detail to you? Now, finally, let's have a look at the book of Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, the Imam of the Asharis, the establisher of the Ash'ari way. He said in his book Risala ila Ahl al-Thaghr, page 272, he's saying, the consensus and the agreement among all scholars that Allah is over His heavens, not only one heaven, over His heavens, over His throne, apart from the earth. Obviously, we can see the disobedience of the Ash'aris to their Imam Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari, who repented, affirming that Allah is over the heavens, over His throne, after he used to be denying that before. Sadly, the Asharis did not consider his final stage and station when he gave up this philosophical way and decided to follow the way of Ahmad ibn Hanbal. And he said, I follow the way of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Ibn Hanbal? So the Asharis are supposed to be Hanbali, because their leader, the establisher of the Ash'ari madhab, without knowing that they're going to be madhab on his name, he didn't know about that. He said, my way is the way of Ahmad. So the Ash'aris are disobeying the Ash'ari, but carrying his name. They carry his name for the entity of that new philosophic madhab, cult or sect called the Asharis, and they're disobeying him. It's not only Abu Hasan al-Ash'ari who repented from this philosophic ideology, but Ghazali did, repented, Juwayni did, Al-Razi did, and those are the biggest icons of the Ash'ari madhab, but finally at the end of their lives they decided to repent. But you guys do not take lesson from their experience, bad experience I should say, when finally they said, we did not get any benefit from this Greek ancient philosophy except denying the ayat about Allah's attributes and manipulating their meanings. So if you're Abu Hassan al-Ash'ari said, all scholars agree that Allah is over His heavens, over His throne, why don't you submit? At least, if you don't want to submit to Allah and to His Messenger, at least submit to your leader, the one who you carry his name. Amazing. But you are failure people. So as a result, I say to you, don't be fooled by those who say to you, your belief is fake. We are Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, not you. So we say to them, come on, be careful and never be deceived by those who say to you, Hadith of Jariyah, the narration of the concubine in Sahih Muslim is weak. No, even if it's weak, shouldn't you be supporting it, elevating it to become authentic because of the ayah that supports it? أَأَمِنْتُمْ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاءِ. Are you secure of the one who is in the height? And stop fooling people saying that it's narrated in Muatta differently. No. Imam Malik in his book Al-Muatta, he narrated it identically, word for word, as you see now. I swear that this concubine had succeeded, and you, with your philosophic theology, had failed. She knows about Allah better than you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.